Hey everyone, GamerJlee here, and joining me for the first ever episode of Gamers Arcade, the inaugural episode, True Insane Matt, or now Insane Matt as we call him. That's his Twitter handle. Hey Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Okay, you're not colossal as crazy. This isn't baited 2.0. We're not trying to be baited. We're not trying to be the Colossal podcast. And then we also have QuakeMan224, who's muted for some reason. I don't know. Shane, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm eating. I don't want to disturb the recording.
Okay, well, good.
I can't hear any chewing.
Well, yeah, he muted himself.
That's why I muted myself.
Haha. See,
this is proven. Great.
This is a really,
it's true. I couldn't hear anything.
This is a really bad intro, but let's continue.
Oh no, this is better than what our old podcast used to be. I remember, like, back in what year did we start it? Like 2013, we had a podcast where basically I was such a fucking fan of the co-optional podcast. I was like inspired to do it a certain way and do it live and all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was with Calvin, wasn't it?
Calvin, it was you and Shane, and basically that fell off very quickly. It went just downhill and just did not turn out as well as we had hoped. And I was back, geez, how many subs I have back then? Like 500 maybe less?
No, it was more.
Oh no, because dude,
well,
when we did that
maybe.
podcast, it was right around the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge.
Oh wow, so yeah, that was in the beginning then.
Right, that was near the beginning. Like, we jumped head first into that shit. But this is the first ever episode, and what a week to do it in. The week that EA blows up the internet, makes records,
Literally.
but not for what you thought they would make records for. Not for sales, not for selling a great game, but for getting the most downvoted post on Reddit. On Reddit!
Congratulations, EA.
Great job.
We've had many controversies from many of the companies, which a lot of them we hate, with like Activision and EA and Ubisoft, but like this is probably going to turn up as the #1 most controversial thing about video games on Angry Joe's video. Not to drop his name, but seriously.
Whoa, a little bit of lag there, but it's all good. No,
ooh, server lag.
Yeah, it's always going to happen with Discord or Skype, whatever you use. But the thing is with it is that it's going to be rememberable, because I guarantee you when we have kids and we're old grandparents, we're going to be like, back in my day, EA was
Hey, you can't do that.
I can steal your gimmick for one time,
no.
but you know,
okay.
That's not even Matt's gimmick. He took that from Wow.
Jesus, we're just a bunch of hacks over here.
Oh, you found me out, Shane. God damn it.
But no, like, it's going to be memorable, and I have a feeling that this is not going to be the end of EA. Sadly, it's not going to be, because they planned for this. I think some people, not just people who we've watched videos of, but other people who I've discussed on Twitter with, like Late Night Gaming, they knew this would probably happen, and they planned this. They are going to bring back this microtransaction. But Shane, why don't you give a brief summary of the incident and basically break it down so that people who aren't in the know, who didn't watch my video or watch someone else's video, knows what we're talking about.
Oh boy, where to begin? Because it is a lot. So, Battlefront 2's beta happened October, I think, like October or September, because I played it early on.
Well, one thing I'm going to add is I actually got to play the alpha that I wasn't able to post about, and I know that there were microtransactions in the fucking alpha. I know that.
Well, I knew they were in the beta too, because when I started the beta in the top left corner, I saw 3 currencies. I figured it out. Anyways, in the beta, people started noticing that, you know, you can get star cards, which basically can like change damage numbers, add health, things like that, out of these loot crates. And yes, you can buy them with in-game money, but you can also buy them with real money. The beta didn't allow that, obviously. And so people complained about it being Battlefront 2 being pay to win. And so there was a massive outcry. I was also annoyed with this a little bit when I did my little video on the beta. So it got so big that EA made an announcement basically saying that, we heard your outcry. We're going to be changing the progression system. We're going to be, the cards won't be in the boxes per se, and there will be restriction, all this other stuff. So a lot of people are like, oh, cool, everything's okay.
Right, they took the legendaries out of there.
That was what we learned later, because the original post I read was they said that all the cards were going to be removed from the boxes entirely, as well as the weapons. You unlock the weapons based on playing those characters. So if you're playing as an officer, you unlock other officer pistols and so on. That wasn't the case. You can still earn those weapons in the crates and also earn them by leveling up.
Jesus.
The cards you could get through crafting system, which I thought was a cool feature, but again, the boxes ruined that too. So yeah, you can craft the cards outright, and you have to be a certain account level to be able to unlock certain cards through boxes. So you have to be like account level 5 to start getting bronze cards, account level 15 to get the silver, so on and so forth. But then people found out that when the game was released, for anyone who pre-ordered the game or something like that,
through
they
EA
noticed that
Origin Access, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was not the case. They completely lied to our face. They did not do exactly what they told us in the report that I read. And it was even worse. So it exploded. On top, people like Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Han Solo, these were locked. They were not unlocked to start. They were locked for 60,000 credits, which costs about 200 to 100 average, depending on how your matches go. And matches can be 30 minutes or so, depending on what type you play. The offline sort of arcade mode where you fight against bots has a credit cooldown, so you can't just earn credits using that system. And they said, oh, we want it to be fair and not exploitative, where someone could just play this single player mode to get Darth Vader instantly. No, that is not the case. You're all a bunch of idiots. So people complain about that. There was even a post that got famous where someone said, I paid $80 and I can't play Darth Vader.
Right.
And he refunded the game because of that. So then they responded by saying, oh, okay, well, we'll reduce the cost. So Darth Vader, everyone went down to 15,000, 10,000 credits. Okay, that sounds better, right? And then you find out that they also nerfed the credit ratio. So instead of earning 200 credits per match, you're only earning like 20.
Now, here's something that I hate to cut you off. This I got in my comment section nonstop. They didn't dumb down the multiplayer. It's only the campaign you got dumbed down on, supposedly. That's what people kept saying in my comments. I've heard otherwise from people that are much more credible. That's the thing.
It's the arcade mode.
Okay, so the arcade mode. Which one's the arcade mode? Because I know of multiplayer and single player. I've played the single player, and
arcade. I don't know if it's in the same menu setup, but in the beta we had access to 2 types. One was where we played as Darth Maul, and we had to kill like 100 enemies in a short amount of time. And then the other one was like a death match where you just have to kill 75 enemies while you're playing as an officer assault or whatever. That was it. And you earn credits by completing the objective. And depending on the difficulty, depends on how much you earn. But again, like I said, there's a cap.
Right. You
can only earn a certain amount of credits every like 4 hours. And again, they said that they did this for stupid reasons. But yeah, and it kept piling on and on with all these controversies. And someone made a mention of basically saying that EA is doing this on purpose. And they're deflating the blame. The moment everyone is talking about, oh, this controversy is 60,000 credits for everyone, and people like Sid Alpha and everyone is piling on about that, EA immediately changes that and be like, what are you guys talking about? It's not 60,000 anymore. Let's move on. Please buy our game.
Yeah.
They're deflecting their tactics.
They're trying to pull the wool over your eyes and get you to still throw down that money and still support them. It's bullshit.
Yeah, and it got to the point to where they made an announcement basically saying that, oh, well, we're sorry. This was not our intention. We didn't mean to do all this bullcrap stuff. And, oh, yeah, by the way, microtransactions are going to be disabled temporarily, and they will be available again at a later point. And the biggest thing I hated was dealing with people that were saying, we won, yeah, no, microtransactions. It's like, no, read the last line. It says that they'll be available on a later date, so we haven't won yet. They're still there. We're
still the Rebel Alliance fighting against the evil EA Empire. We're still fighting as one. But here's the thing, and this is what I brought up in my video, and basically, this drove me nuts because here's the thing. I'm one of these outspoken people that will call out bullshit and basically say, look, this needs to happen. Now, I'm not GLL. I'm not going to call you a fucking inbred or a cunt, but I'm going to call you out and I'm going to say what's what. But the thing is people were supposedly, and this turned out to be fake, giving death threats. There was some fake Twitter account that was supposedly an EA employee who had been threatened 7 times, you know, that he was going to get his throat cut in front of his wife and child, and while he like raped his wife or some shit. And I was just like, guys, if this is happening, don't do this. This is making us look bad. This is what makes people like Arnita Sarkeesian or whatever that fuck her name is, and, you know, Brianna Wu and all these crazy fucking SJWs make us look bad, you know? And basically, it turned out it was fake. The death threats were fake. Now, I'm sure there were some. I'm sure there were some crazy fucking fanboys that were throwing out death threats towards developers and towards EA and stuff. But the thing is that from the biggest part of it, it was fake. And that's why in my video, because I didn't see enough credible, like, honest answers, I said, this could be real. I'm not sure. But from all I've seen is copy-paste quotes. I haven't seen screenshots. So it's just like...
I will make a point, even though you said it was fake. I'm going to make this clear. Death threats are never okay.
Right,
I don't
exactly.
Care. All right, I don't care. They're never okay. It reminds me of the time when Black Ops 2 changed the quote-unquote fire rate of some of the bolt action rifles in Black Ops 2, and one of the developers was given death threats over and over again for something so minuscule.
That.
Oh, wow. You ruined our quick scoping. Oh, I want to kill you now. And I'm just like, really, guys? Really?
Right.
Don't ever, like,
Jesus.
look, you can be annoyed with a change. You can have a disgust with a change. You could be hating an update, but you want to know something? You be civil about it. That's what we are. You be civil as best as you can. Don't go to death threats because it will make your plight completely stupid.
Right. It's going to make us look like idiots and basically the savages that people like Arnie Sarkeesian, hate to bring up that awful, god-awful name, but who has put us out as these savages that are just evil, sexist, bigoted fucking people, and that we just basically hate women and we hate, you know, everything. And it's just like, the thing is it makes us look worse. Like, I remember... You know, back, and Matt, you can remember this and you can tell me what you think. But remember when, back in 2008, back when, like, we first got on Xbox Live and you got into Halo 3 and stuff, and you would go into the game chat and everyone would be talking, but it would either be a good conversation or it would be the most, like, disgusting, fuck you, you motherfucker, you know, I'm gonna hack you, bro, bullshit.
Oh, yeah, that still happens to this day, but not to that extent.
Yeah, like, no, like, remember, this is just an early example. Yesterday, me and Matt were playing CSGO with Orion. First match of the day, you remember this. We go in there, and there's this fucking kid. He's like 10 or 12. And he's yelling into the mic, just telling us what to do, but he's being a little dick bag about it. And he's like, you fucking retard. And I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna mute. And like, it was so annoying. Like, it's still around, but not as like hardcore as it used to be, I think.
At least I don't think it's as bad on PC as it was on Xbox.
Yeah, Xbox, like, no one talks anymore whatsoever.
At least
like,
if you're playing like Halo or Call of Duty, that's like the hot spot for that kind of thing.
Like, even now, like, I go into Call of Duty and you never hear anyone talk. Like, I play on console still every so often whenever it comes to certain titles. Like, it feels like you can't play a modern day Call of Duty title on PC because literally the servers die within a couple of days. But
yeah. It's because PC players want one thing in their games, and it's something that I have said many times, that if you want a game to survive better, they need to add them.
Dedicated servers.
That's dedicated servers. Like, seriously. Like, I like the matchmaking idea because it's a nice way to get into a game without having to deal with a custom servers, which is why I like how Counter-Strike handles it. You have the standard, the standard matchmaking servers to where it's using Valve servers, so if someone's hacking, it could find ways to figure out who he is and stuff. and then you have excuse me, and then you have the dedicated servers for if you want custom games, if you want to have gravity turned off, if you want so on and so forth. Having both of them is a good idea. Team Fortress 2 also does this too.
Right.
But when a game only has dedicated servers or only have matchmaking, it can have a huge problem in a lot of ways. Because, dedicated servers have to be run by people. But if a fan base drops, then there's not a lot of people making servers, which means there's not a lot of people being able to enjoy a game.
Right. Well,
and then matchmaking, you need a set number of people to start a game anyways.
Right. And the thing is basically, it's just, whenever it comes to Call of Duty, it's basically dead on the PC. Like, the only way to play it nowadays, it seems like, on the console. But let's go back to the whole microtransaction discussion. So, EA is right now in a shit ton of trouble. They have gotten so much backlash, and now Disney had to step in. Disney, Mickey Mouse came in there and bitch slapped fucking EA and said, "What the fuck, guys? What the fuck?"
Like well, oh!
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and basically, he's like, "Listen, you motherfucker! You're not gonna do this shit! You're not gonna do it! Okay? Oh!" And then basically walked out. And now, it's just basically right now we're waiting. We're waiting until EA basically brings it back and see how much it's really changed. But in all honesty, yes?
I was going to say, what I find hilarious, though, was apparently, I don't know where, I don't remember how someone got this report, but it's already been verified to be true. There was someone that was at an investor meeting at EA where the EA CEO said, "Don't worry, us turning off the microtransactions will not be bad to affect your investment calls."
Right.
And when everyone saw this statement, everyone's like, "Then why have the microtransactions anyways? Why have them?"
Exactly.
If you're saying to your investors that, "Oh, don't worry, this won't cause any problem to our what is the term they use?
The quota or your
the quota or whatever like that." Yeah. Then why have them in the first place? Why?
Right. And that's the thing, is that I was having discussions with people, who basically I'm pretty close with, fellow YouTubers. And the thing was, I kept up bringing this example from Bullet Berry, who said basically, it's bullshit. Basically, it's bullshit. You're making enough money off the initial game to pay your employees, do all this shit. It's bullshit to have these microtransactions, especially with EA. But the thing is that when it comes down to microtransactions, and we're probably going to talk about this is going to be a whole subject for this podcast, the loot box system. It has become so fucking cancerous and such a meme almost that it's like, I remember when the loot boxes usually, originally came out, which was one of the first games to do it. I don't know. I'm trying
Team Fortress 2.
Team Fortress 2 did a loot box system?
The Hatch.
Well,
way before they went free to play, it was Team Fortress 2.
Right. Well, what I'm thinking of is not like they did the crates. Yeah, it was basically like CS:GO and Team Fortress 2 that basically started the crate system. But I was thinking more of the one where it's basically you get 4 items like that. But if you're talking just 1 item sort of thing, yeah, it's got to be Valve.
Okay. You have to remember, a loot box / loot crate is just a box that gives you a random item. It doesn't have to be 4, 5, 2, or 1.
Exactly.
It's a random chance to get a random item, and there's different rarities. That is a loot box. It's a random gambling system.
Right.
Simple as that.
Yeah. And basically, I remember when these first came out, they weren't a big deal. Some people threw a fib about them, but a lot of people just said, it's not a big thing. I don't have to spend money. I don't have to do it. And then as, and I'm going to blame some entertainers, I remember when people like Kutra and Immortal HD did their big, loot box or their, crate opening boxes for CSGO. People fucking went crazy, and would watch those, and they would bring in the views, and every year Kutra would do these Christmas specials, the December Daily Dozen. That's what it was called. He would open 12 crates a day, and he would try and get a knife and all this shit. And yeah,
I will say that, like, it's a double-edged sword in that regard, and I'm not saying it's a good thing or whatnot.
mm-hmm.
But, like, yes, it really is stupid when someone, you know, makes a video talking about how cool it is to open boxes and things like that. But it's also, you know, it's also them making the said videos anyways.
Right.
So, you know, we can't, like, it's hard to say. It's not like, I can't seem to put it into words, so I'll just drop it there. But it's the fact that, like, well, like, no one would have known that unboxing videos was going to get so good. No one would have expected that to be so good.
Right. It's such a simple concept, right, Matt?
Yeah, I mean,
by the way, I'm sorry if you haven't said anything for a while.
Matt's basically
Matt's
basically Tommy C's. Just got to sit in the background, laugh while
I'm just gonna hang back here and start laughing.
Yeah, start being the laugh track of the group. But no,
I would love to be the laugh track.
Yeah. Well, the thing is when it comes to the loot boxes, though, that's the main issue, is that it's so anti-consumer, and that's the thing for me, is that I used to not, as I've learned more and more, like, I've started to really hate the loot box systems, and I've, you know, kind of discussed this with people, and it seems like it's came down to the best microtransaction you can do. The best consumer-friendly one is either you can earn it using in-game credits, or you can just buy it outright, the item, you know?
Both.
Yeah, or both.
The thing is like, I still think Overwatch is a great example so far, but it's still problematic. It's not perfect.
Right, exactly.
It's still problematic. The one thing that they need to do, there's only one thing they need to do, and I know for a fact they won't do it.
What's that?
They need to add a system to where you can trash stuff you don't want, and to get in-game credits that way.
Well,
because if I can... No, you don't.
Oh, well,
you cannot...
wait, you're not talking about duplicates, but things you don't want?
Like, let's say, the last Halloween box, I got a legendary skin for D.Va. I don't play D.Va. I wish I could just dump it, get 500 credits, and then use 500 for anything else. Right. King of the Kill, or H1Z1, lets you trash any skins you don't want. Pug lets you trash skins you don't want.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Dirty
doesn't
Bomb
give you much credits for any of that. Like, if you trash a skin in pub, it only gives you like 20 credits.
But my point still stands that you can still do it.
It's still an option that should be in there.
But it doesn't.
But
they'll
never raise it because they want to feed off your addictive nature of gambling.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and plus the game's aimed towards kids a lot.
But also do remember, because I don't know if you guys played it on launch, because I didn't, and I didn't know about this.
Yeah, we played it on launch.
Overwatch didn't have the credit system at launch. The only way you got anything was through the boxes. And then after complaints, then they added the credit system to where you can earn it through the boxes, or if you have duplicates. And then that's when now you can basically choose your own stuff, but you still have to open boxes. I still think the system is relatively fair, because 20,000 experience is very easy to do, and you get increased experience if you play with people, which is kind of the point. And if you play a lot of competitive, like all of us do, we can get a box in 3 matches. No, just easy.
Right, and so, you also... Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, like, Overwatch's loot boxes aren't that bad, I will say. The only problem I have is that you really don't get anything. I'm not going to say for everyone, but for me, I don't get anything I want ever in those loot boxes. Like, you get, like, what? A player icon, some sprays. It's just like
a voice line.
Pile on all of this shit to get you to buy more.
Right.
Yeah. It is very manipulative. I'm not going to deny that. I mean, we're all smarter here. We're not going, we're not going to spend real money no matter how much we get tempted. Like, I play the crap out of Overwatch as much as I can because I wanted the Zenyatta skin. I wanted the Cthulhu Zenyatta skin. I didn't get it. So I'm going to have to wait till next year to grab it again. But one thing I did not do, I did not put up my wallet to try and hope to God I get it.
Right. Well,
but I know there's people who are going to.
Right. And
again, imagine all these events that came out without the credit system.
Right. And the thing is that, like, there are other options to earn crates. You do have the option of going through the arcade mode every week and unlocking crates by playing those quick matches. They go bang, 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 bang. You can get through those, but you have to win, That's the one thing. And another thing I will say is that at least you do have that duplicate option of, you know, basically if you get a duplicate, it gets burnt. And one thing, and this is my OCD talking, you know, I've got a little OCD when it comes to game collectibles, you know, like it drives me nuts. But one thing that drives me nuts is whenever you can't get an item ever again. Like, let's say I was working throughout the week and they said, hey, during this day, you can get this item, but only during this day. That drives me fucking nuts.
Here's my issue with that. Okay? If it's event skins, I don't mind that because I'm used to it from League of Legends. You know, if you want winter skins, you got to wait until winter. That's fine. But here's the thing that League does, and it does it incredibly well, that I wish more games were starting to do, which is that if the skin is unavailable, you can't get it through a box, you can't outright buy anything like that, it doesn't show up in the listing at all.
Yeah, that would be nice because that wouldn't drive my OCD so insane.
Like, oh, I don't have this skin, I can look at it, but I can't buy it.
Yeah.
It's this, like, that's the thing I hate about the BlizzCon stuff, because they have them showing, oh, did you miss out the BlizzCon skin for Reinhardt this year? Well, you could see it, but you can't have it anymore because obviously the event's completely over. The same thing goes with Bastion. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. Hopefully they'll do an update to where it doesn't show up, period. But that's the thing I don't like, is because that is problematic. That will tempt people and anger people. Never do that. If a skin is exclusive or rare, or your only chance of getting it is to get a code, don't have it show up to other players because that's insulting.
Right.
To me, I don't think they're aware of that at all, though.
Quake Champions does that. There's a Twitch Prime rocket launcher that you can't get anymore, and there's the QuakeCon this year lightning gun skin. They show up in the listings, but you can't touch them.
Interesting.
I told them in the forums that they should remove those, and I got no response. So
yeah, like that's the thing to me, is that I don't think, sadly, microtransactions are gonna go away anytime soon. Even if the biggest company of microtransactions gets in trouble for it, it's not going to go away anytime soon. Because, and this is what bugs me, is it feels like it's a war. You don't know if you can trust in a company saying that they need these microtransactions, or if you can trust that they don't need them. Because companies like, I know for sure, EA and Activision don't need microtransactions. They don't. But
it's a tax evade.
It's a tax evade, yeah. Exactly.
They tax evade. That was something like I knew of the discussion people have about, oh, well, they tax evade type of stuff, but I wanted actual proof on the matter in a lot of ways. And Super Bunny Hop, not to name drop, did a video basically discovering and actually looking at all information about it. And yeah, apparently Activision, EA, and everyone does a loophole where they create a fake company under their name in another country, and then they send all of their money to that country, which then can get tax evaded through the country's tax law. Then they bring the money back to the U.S. and they keep it.
Oh, shit.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, and see, that's what I wonder about, is like, you know, since I'm a considered Halo YouTuber, even though I'm like distancing myself, like when it came to...
For now.
Right. But like when it came down to it, basically, I remember when they came out with... what was the freaking thing? The rec packs, you know, the rec packs. And they said, all the money is going towards, all the money this raise goes towards the events. Now, they've been doing the events, you know, up until now. They still do them. But what I find is funny is that, like, at the championships last year or something, I remember Keemstar talking about this on Drama Alert. Not to name drop a fucking cancerous person, but basically, he shows pictures of the most pathetic thing ever, and it's like this tent with a screen inside, and there's balloons, but they're on the ground, and then you go inside and it's just bleachers looking at a TV screen, and I'm like, where the fuck did the money go? Where the fuck did it go? Why is
my question, and here's the thing though, do we know how much money was spent? Because if we don't know the number, that's the thing. Because, like, remember, in the first year that Overwatch was out, they said that they had 10 million players. Okay?
Right.
And in their first year, they've earned close to $2 million of loot box.
Well, and here's
Like
the
real
thing,
money.
is that there's been ridiculous prices for these rec packs. Like, if I go to, like, I'm going to open up the rec pack thing now. Basically, you have bronze packs you can't buy using in-game credits. But you can buy silver packs, which silver packs, if I... Ah, oh, jeez, it's going to make me sign in. Jesus Christ, you fucking... Yeah, sign me in. Sign in. Go fast. Oh my gosh. This is why I hate friggin' Xbox's BS. I always am signed in.
I don't know why. When you said go fast, all I could think of was the terrible, terrible Sonic Forces and be like, you know, my original OC, do not steal.
Oh, God. Dude, I played that game. It's so fucking bad. It's so fucking bad.
I know.
Like, how could that be a sequel to Sonic Generations? Like, seriously.
Well, it's not just a sequel to Sonic Generations. It's also a sequel to fucking, what's it called?
Oh, Sonic
Mania. Because it uses the crystals. But, like, okay, let me give you the prices for the rec packs. Silver packs cost $199. Gold packs cost $254. And then there's a whole bunch of bundles for the gold pack. So you've got, like, you could get, let's see, 3 of them for $764. You can get 5 of them for $12.75. 10, and then you get 3 free ones for $22.50. You got 15 plus 5 free packs for $30.41. And then oh shit, here we go. I missed a 7-pack, you know, combo deal for $16. And then 34 packs plus 13 free ones for $60. Holy fuck.
Damn.
It's just ridiculous, man.
Now, I want to say something.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious. Have you guys ever heard of the total number of the interesting report, which is why I understand why people blame Overwatch, and I'm perfectly fine with that statement. I still think Overwatch is a fantastic game, and you can play it without spending a single dime.
Exactly.
But yes, it can be manipulated. I'm not going to deny that statement. In the 5 years, if I remember the numbers correctly, in the 5 years that this whole loot box thing was being done in certain games, both free-to-play and paid games, it was reported that in 5 years, there were only 16 games that did it. Okay? In 5 years, 16 games. And about 80% of those were free-to-play games. Technically, Team Fortress 2 counts, even though they included it before they made it free-to-play.
Yeah.
All right? In a single year, we've had 22 games with loot box systems. All of them are paid
Just
games.
this year or last year?
Just this year.
Fucking Christ. And the year's not even over yet, and we still have a little while to go. Majority of games have come out so far. Like, what games do we have left on the list for this year? Like, let me actually look up the release list.
That's a good question. There isn't much.
Let's see here. All right, here I'm gonna scroll down this list. February. We're in what? November. Let's scroll down.
Yeah.
Hold on. Going down. May, June, July, August. Where's fucking Jesus Christ? I'm having to scroll forever because there's so many games that came out. October, November. Okay, so we just had Call of Duty World War II, which has microtransactions.
And boxes.
We just had .hack GU come out, which honestly I
want to say something about the Call of Duty thing though.
Sure.
The way they do their microtransactions is fucking hilarious.
It's
where you
terrible.
can like call in a care drop and everyone could see what you got.
And
Are you fucking kidding me? Like, yeah, I'm gonna show off what I got to everyone.
It's part of their patent. It's part of their patent.
And no, it's not really part of the patent per se, but the other issue with it is, did you know that you have a chance to get a random reward if you watch someone do that?
Are you serious?
What? What the fuck?
If that's completely accurate, that's what I've heard. If I am wrong, I'm happy to admit that I was wrong when I said that. But I remember hearing someone tell me that if there's a crowd of people and there's a guy that's recording for a YouTube video or something and has like 20 boxes and you watch him open this, you have a chance of getting a reward. That's what I've heard.
Okay, I would need to see proof of this. If there was proof of this, I would believe it. But That just seems too crazy to be true. But you know, it's fucking Activision. Yeah. What do we expect?
Man, that shit's the future of microtransactions right there.
But
I mean, when you could just open a microtransaction in front of a bunch of people, oh man, that's the future right there.
Okay, I think that I'm sorry. I need to
go for it.
I need to interrupt this. So I'm looking through the list. I see that Noah, or however you pronounce it, came out on PC last week. You got
NIOA or NIOH.
Yeah, Noah, or whatever it is. Nio. Thank you. You had Doom come out on the Switch. Need for Speed Payback for the 3D. What? What the? Okay, I think no. This is backwards. I'm looking at this. This has to be backwards. Mario Party, the top 100, came out for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Where the fuck is that? Where the fuck is that on Steam?
What? We'd be playing that right now instead of doing this podcast.
Right. Like, no, I'm looking at Need for Speed Payback. It says it's for the 3DS. I think they screwed up there. You had Football Manager 2018. No one cares. Batman Telltale series for the Switch. That's pretty cool. New LA Noire for the Switch. Pretty cool. Lego Marvel Superheroes. That's supposed to be... Okay, whoever wrote this list does not know what the fuck. Okay, whatever.
It feels like just slapped together.
Oh no, I'm looking at this list and I like Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. That came out like a year ago. It was Lego Marvel Superheroes 3 that came out this week. I'm looking at this. It's just, yeah. All we got left for this month is you've got Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2 for the Switch, Little Witch Academy Chamber of Time for PS4, and that's it. And then December, all we got is the PS4 release of Dead Rising 4, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 for the Switch, Doom VR, Steep, the Road to the Olympics, I guess, Hello Neighbor, that one I'm looking forward to, and then Resident Evil 7 Gold Edition, which me and Matt are going to play the new DLC, you know, that comes out. We're going to live stream that.
Not my hero.
What'd you say, Shane?
I said, not my hero.
Not my hero, yeah. Like, the thing is I'm kind of glad that they reworked it, but I kind of wish that they had came out with it at the same time, because I really wanted to play it a long time
funny.
ago.
I find it funny.
You find it funny? Well, go into detail. I want to hear why.
Because remember that you bought me the game, and I live streamed myself beating it, and when I finished it, you get that little sweet little small trailer, and it's like, March 2017, free DLC. And when I finished it, I think it was like May. I'm like, they missed that mark.
Yeah, and the paid DLC was fucking trash. The paid DLC, except for like one of them, was trash. It wasn't even worth the money. Like, it felt like it should have been... Like, you know how we had mercenary mode and stuff, like in the past games? Like,
yeah, like that horde
all those things should have been in there as like a bonus feature instead of being part of this paid DLC thing. Like, it was just terrible.
Like horde mode and Gears, like it should have just been part of the game. It feels like they just kind of stripped it out of the game and sold it to you for money.
Right. And the thing, go ahead.
Okay. Possibly, but there's not enough evidence to prove that is the case.
I'm not saying that it's fact.
I know.
I'm just saying there's a possibility. I'm not going to ignore that.
Right.
Yeah. I wouldn't know, but I will. I feel like that's not the case because of the fact that, it seemed, based on what I saw, they were trying to focus on making a game on a new perspective because, Resident Evil has never done a first-person mode like this. You can consider Resident Evil Survivor as first-person, but it's more of a light gun game than a first-person shooter.
Right. Well, and
fair enough.
The thing is that basically what it drove me nuts about it is that it felt like, this basically these chronicles of the other character, I forget his name, Clancy, that was his name. I think Clancy was the guy who died earlier, but I forget the exact character's name.
Clancy was the guy you played as in the first video, and then you play as him again during that puzzle room.
Yeah, and that's who you play as during this final part with the DLC. That's who you play as. And the thing was, it made me hate Lucas more and more and more. I hope to God in Chris Redfield's thing we kill fucking Lucas, the fucking
yeah, because I mean it is it seems like he is going after Lucas,
right?
Because we're going towards his hideout.
Right, in the mines.
In the trailer, at least.
So
yeah.
that's what we're hoping for, is that we're gonna, you know, get to kill Lucas. That's what I'm hoping for, because dude, I was so pissed.
He randomly fucking disappeared.
Right, and we just never hear about him again. So hopefully we'll get to kill Lucas. That's what I'm hoping for in the DLC. But the thing for me is that, like, it seems like there's just all these games coming out this year, and no matter what, no matter how much we bitch and complain, it's like they want us to spend money, and they're like, we need it. We need the microtransactions, whenever half of them don't. And it's and you don't know who to trust and who not to trust.
It's always complicated. All right. It is always complicated because, mind you, I have to say this clearly because people can misinterpret it. I am not trying to defend microtransactions and $60 paid games when I say this statement. But if you love a game, and a game is designed to be online, not a game that's supposed to be single player with online stupid mechanics like Diablo 3.
Yeah.
I can understand a company putting in stuff in the game to pay for if you want the game to be alive. Because if you don't, it will die. That is a fact. No matter how many times people want to say, no, it shouldn't, that's just a fact. Just recently, we had Marvel Heroes, a free-to-play Marvel Diablo-style game, just got shut down. It happens. So it's complicated. Now, I don't mind it depending on how it's handled. Like, I thought it was fine when Black Ops 2 released $2 these $2 skins that adds a skin for all weapons, including your knife, a reticule for your red dot, a reticule for your ACOG, and a reticule for your hybrid scope.
I remember these, yeah.
For $2.
Right. I think that's perfectly fine because I don't have to gamble.
Yeah, and they released those like after 6 months the game was out. It wasn't there day one. So that's where I was like, I'm fine with this.
What game was this?
Black Ops 2.
Oh, Black Ops 2, okay.
Yeah. I understand why people feel that having extra paid microtransactions and games should never exist. I understand that argument, and I'm not trying to say that you're wrong. But if there's a game that you love and you want the servers to stay online, I don't blame the company if they want to put them in. That's why I was okay how The Division handled their microtransactions after about 7 months of it being released.
Well, and I can't speak about The Division because I didn't play enough of it. Like, I really didn't play enough. But the thing is that if it is an option of either, you know, just buying the item outright, you know, like, basically I have that option of just buying the item outright. Like, I remember, you know, let's say this. Let's say that they, you know, said, let's say that there was a microtransaction in Halo 3. God forbid there was a microtransaction in Halo 3. And you didn't want to try and do all the achievements to get recon armor. Let's just say that. Let's say that you didn't want to do all the achievements to get recon armor. And he said, look, you can buy it as a thing for this much.
Like, recon armor wouldn't mean anything at that point.
Right. It wouldn't mean anything. Like, that would bug me. But, like, at the same time, like, what is a good example? Like, it's cosmetic. And the thing is it has to be cosmetic. It has to be cosmetic, and it has to be, in my opinion, when it comes to microtransaction, it has to be cosmetic, and it has to be either outright buyable or in-game credits being able to be purchased by earning credits for it to be a actual, like, that's my dream one. That's my dream option. But unfortunately, that dream is probably never going to come true unless, like, we get it from a company that actually gives a fuck about its consumers. But, you know.
There are good ways of handling this system. That's how I always feel. You know, I personally didn't have too much of a problem with the crate system, depending on how it's handled. Like, now again, I haven't played a whole lot about it, so I can't say I'm 100% factual when I say this. But I remember that when I played Battlefield 1, there was a crate system. But last time I checked, you could not use real money to buy these crates. You earn them in...
I believe you can spend real money to buy these crates now. Let me see here. I'm just gonna double check.
Go look, because when I launched the game, I saw no option in the shop bar that said to buy like any currency or any crates for real money. The only thing I saw on the shop bar was buying the expansion packs or the premium season edition thingamajigger. That was it.
Let me look. Actually, let me look and see extra content. Let's see here. You've got that. You've got the premium pass, the add-ons, more add-ons. You got the basically the shortcuts. I'm not,
which I think are. I still think the shortcut is fine.
But
because they weren't there.
I have different opinions on the shortcuts. Like the thing for me is like, what's the point of buying a game if you're just gonna pay another $10 to get quick access? Like that to me is.
But that's that. But here's the thing. All right, there's a difference between doing that at launch and doing it later. Later, it makes sense. Let's say you're someone that doesn't have a whole lot of time. The game has been out for a year. Everyone's max rank. Everyone has all attachments. Everyone has all the good weapons. And and if you want to unlock the good weapons, you need to, get kills with this weapon or, use this weapon. But if you're getting killed by people using slightly better weapons than you, and you're okay with spending money on one kit, like for example, I spent $5 on the jet kit for Battlefield 3. Why? Because I legitly could not kill a thing. Because the only way you can unlock other perks and other items like lock-ons or flares is you have to get points using the jet. How do you get points with the jet? By killing other people. Well, you can't kill other people when other people can kill you faster than you have a chance to do anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I spent $5 on the jetpack, not jetpack, the Jets shortcut bundle because you know what? I can't do that. I cannot do that as all. And plus, the fact that everyone wants to do, everyone wants to be in a jet, and there's only 2 jets that spawn per match. Yeah, good luck.
Well, and here's something that I'm gonna say, and basically, Favin brought this up to me. I was talking to him about this, and basically, he brought this up to me, and I said I don't know really many games that have done this system. And he said Gears of War 3 did this same system where you could just outright buy the skins. Like, you remember this, Matt. You were a big Gears 3 player.
Mm-hmm.
Where it came to the actual, like, DLC skins for the weapons, you could just outright buy them. There was no earning option, but you could outright buy them, Like,
but they were
yeah,
scammed.
I haven't played that game in so long. I actually don't remember how that actually worked.
Basically, it was like there was bundles. There was either individual or a giant bundle pack.
But but the point I was trying to get at is that I don't mind a box system. It's just one of those choices you can have. So, for example, let's say you can buy this brand new rifle for this character for 500 credits, or spend 150 credits to get a random weapon for a random person.
Like, that's...
I think that system is fine because a box is incredibly cheap to go for, and it gives you a random chance, so it makes sense for the price point.
So wait. So wait. Did you say a skin or like an actual rifle for the person?
An actual rifle.
That seems a little more like pay to win because it's a
no. In-game money. No real. Don't think real money.
Well, okay. So, like if it's like that's really hard for me to say because the thing is it comes off if it's in a crate, it comes off.
Let me explain. All right. In League of Legends, there are skins for amounts of characters. There's some standard skins that are like 400 riot points, which is like maybe $5. Some that are 900 riot points. Some legendary skins that are like 1300 points, and some really ultimate skins are like 1800 riot points, which could be up to like I think $25. Okay?
Yeah.
Or you can buy a thing that they have. It's not there permanently, but it's always a limited time during the holidays called a mystery skin, where you can spend 450 riot points, which is close to maybe $6 to $7 to get a random skin. It guarantees a skin for a champion you own. It will not give you skins for people you don't own. And you have a random chance of getting, the real. So sometimes you could be lucky enough to get the skin that could cost like 1800 riot points for only 400.
Right.
I've actually gotten one of the skins you actually couldn't get at the time through one of those.
Now, mind you, riot points is real money, so that's kind of a different story. And what I'm trying to propose in a game where I don't mind it is where you can either choose. It's either like it's super cheap to have a chance to get a weapon, and certain weapons that could be really powerful or whatnot could be rare, while some basic ones could be not so rare. Or if you don't feel like a random chance, you could continue to save your credits and let's say, oh, you want this new weapon for this character and it's only 500 points.
Right.
I think that depends on the game. Yeah. Like it depends on the game. Yes. Like if it was like a game like Battlefield or Call of Duty where you could just like pick and choose which guns you can unlock at which time.
Black Ops 1.
Right. Basically just like Black Ops 1. Then yes, that like the way it sounded like was I was like, wait, you can just buy a gun? Like yeah.
Like basically basically the concept is that instead of it all the items you could unlock is entirely and restrictedly a box system of random loot, it's a choice. It's like pay a cheap cost to get a random item that you may like, or spend the full cost of 500 to get what you actually want.
Right.
So it's like, you could earn let's say the box is 50 points, and you can get 50 points by completing one match, or play 10 matches, get the 500 points, and buy the weapon outright. I find that system to be okay, because as long as it's not real world money, it's not
gambling.
Right.
And it gives you a choice of like, what do you want to do? And I think that's okay. I think that's fine. But when you make the entire progression system entirely like that, especially if it's game changer, that's problematic. Again, I know it sounds hypocritical because I like Overwatch, but I feel like Overwatch is the best possible thing we've gotten, even though it has the real world money bullcrap.
Right. If you're talking about like modern day multiplayer games like that, then yes. And basically the thing is that what I do like about Overwatch is it is all cosmetic. And like, here's the thing. I've heard people say, it's not okay if it's cosmetic. It's just not okay at all. And the thing for me is like, it's not bugging me. And plus how quickly I can earn crates, it seems fair. Like I can earn, how many crates can you earn in arcade mode a week? 3.
9 wins.
Right. And then like I earned like 2 crates last night playing we played, geez, I think I know I earned a couple crates last night playing, multiplayer. And on top of that, it's just like I've been getting crates all the time. Like I don't need to spend money, and half the time I don't even get things I want. But the thing is that I don't have to spend the money. And like at that point, the thing is that it sucks that it's an option to spend money. That's the shitty part, is it's an option to spend money. If Blizzard,
it messes with your head,
right? And basically, it gets you like, dude, I really feel like if I open one more crate, maybe that Diva skin will be in there. Oh, but I'm running out of time because the event's about to run out. Let me just spend $40 for 50 crates. And
it is manipulative, and I'm not denying that.
Exactly.
And it's why I love Overwatch and the gameplay of it, but I do think that they should do a couple of things to make it much more fair, like being able to trash skins you don't want.
I think that would
I have a lot of those.
Yeah, like, trust me, I don't play Symmetra.
Also, something else that I wish they would do, and again, I know they won't because they don't want it to be too easy, but I also wish that when you're playing competitive or casual or maybe arcade mode, you can earn the in-game money. Instead of the in-game money being restricted to only crates, you could, like, let's say you finish a game, and you did really well, and you got 20 credits. Because obviously they don't want it to be too easy to get the legendary skins, and I don't blame them, that's fine. But at least fair enough to where just playing the game gets you in-game credits.
Right. That seems pretty fair. The thing for me is, one thing, and this could be a different option. Okay, Matt, for example, let's say that there was an event, and I got a Soldier 76 skin that you wanted, right?
Yeah.
This would never happen, but this would be so awesome if they actually had a trade system.
I will tell you why that won't work.
Because they'll basically boost it up, and basically people will hoard it or some shit like that.
CSGO.
Right. It'll turn into the
CSGO
gambling and shit.
No, not just gambling. CSGO and Counter-Strike. I almost said the same thing. Team Fortress 2 is the reason why no other company is rarely doing the whole, you can use money on the market system, because CSGO was the problem.
Right.
Is that because of how the system was handled, that's why people, you know, because for a while, the way accounts were set up and how accounts are managed were pretty nice and pretty fair. They didn't have a whole lot of problems. Some people try to hack into accounts, but it was all pretty minor.
Matt.
Ever since Counter-Strike Go started its whole money thing where you could sell knives that are like $600 on the market and stuff like that, people started hoarding the items. And because you've hoarded them, it made you an easier target. So people would try to hack you or scam you or bot you. And that's why there's that whole system to where now you have to have Steam Guard on your phone to trade and do stuff easily. If you don't, you have restricted trading.
Right. Well, here's the thing I need to say. Matt
God.
doesn't even have good skins. Back in the when we first started playing, I had the Vulcan, the Cyrex. I had my fucking knives and shit. No one had
the
me.
best thing I fucking had was a Cyrex. Like it wasn't even a fucking,
good one. It was a shitty. Yeah, it was a field tested non-stat track one.
Like, yeah, it was.
Or minimal wear or something like that.
Twice. Not just once, twice.
But my point is that's why they will never do that. No company really wants to do that.
Right.
Good.
And granted, some games are still kind of doing it. Like, I think you can sell some crates from H1Z1 on the market, but the skins themselves you can't.
Right. I believe that's the truth on that too.
But Pug, even though everything you earn in the game is easy for free for now, you can still sell them on the market.
Right.
You know?
And what's funny is that I had someone call me out earlier and say, but if PUBG does this, you're not going to call them. I'm like, yeah, I am. If they do the paid crate shit that they said they might have in the future, yeah, of course I'm going to call them out on it. You know? Because
it's coming out real soon. That's coming out real soon too. So we'll see if they actually do that.
Patch 1.0 is right around the corner, but
I'm nervous, but that's off topic. Anyways,
let me just say one thing on that. You know, just on the PUBG thing. Me and Elvar did a match in the test server for the vaulting update. The game, I ran it at low settings, and it ran better than it has ever ran in the fucking main game.
And the way you vault is so smooth. Like, they took their time with this update, and it looks amazing.
And there's more points of interest, Shane, that I think you're really gonna like. But continue with what you were saying.
But anyways, now this is a point that I'm going to get at. This is definitely a point that I know for a fact that a lot of people, if they're continuing to listen to this podcast, get to this point. I know a lot of people are going to argue incredibly against me when I make these statements. But I've been studying this very carefully, very hard, having conversation with a bunch of other people before I finalize this opinion. And I feel it's time for me to say it.
What is that?
So we always keep talking about what we just mentioned about how loot crates and everything like that is really manipulative and very, very bad.
Correct.
Absolutely. We agree with that. So, if that is the case, that is the logic as to why we hate loot boxes and why they shouldn't be in games, especially as a progression, then why is it for the past 20 years we've had something very similar to this that has existed in a gaming... You know where I'm going.
Yep, I know where you're going with this now.
Yeah,
we've had this existing for a very long time, and no one batted an eye. No one said anything about it. Everyone says it's perfectly fine and dandy. But if everyone's arguing about the loot crate system in video games is a problem, I'm going to bring this up. Now, granted, I understand it's slightly different being the fact that it's physical, but the logic still applies, and that's booster packs and card games.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Go on.
Like, when you break it down, like, when you actually put them head to head, they're practically the same fucking thing.
And see, the problem that I've ran into, and granted, I may not have been in the card gaming business as long as most people I know around me, but I grew up playing Pokemon and Magic, and one of the biggest problems I had dealing with, specifically with Magic, was when I bought a deck a long time ago. I barely could go to the card shop, so I barely could play with people, and I didn't have anyone else locally to play with. So I had this deck just standing there for a long time. Years go by. Then a friend of mine that I knew, that we rekindled our friendship, decided to say, hey, I'm going to Friday Night Magic tonight. Do you want to come with me? I'm like, sure, I have a deck. I'll bring it with me. You know, I go to the location, I see the card shop, I see these people in their play mats, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be fun. I walk up, and they're like, oh, you're ready for Friday Night Magic? I'm like, yeah. They're like, okay, $5 for the event because it's a special sponsored event by Wizards of the Coast. It's not just a random thing. It's actually important.
Like a tournament.
So yeah. And so I hand them my deck, and they first said they wanted me to look at their deck, and they look at my deck, and the first card they say, they go, I can't take this deck. I'm like, why? Like, this card is from an expansion from 3 years ago. You're only allowed cards from current expansions or 2 years prior.
Well, and
so basically, and again, I'm not trying to fight against that system as bullcrap. But if you really think about it, it's manipulating you. It's literally telling you, hey, you have to spend money to re-update this deck to make sure it's ready for you. And because Magic has 5 elements, plane, island, swamp, forest, and mountain, and if you're a person who's only a 1 deck, like me, I do 2, which is I'm a plane and island deck.
Most people do standard. My dad used to be a competitive Magic the Gathering player, and he used to do like basically two different options. Yeah.
But if you're someone like me who only does plane and island, and you buy a bunch of booster packs, and you're constantly getting mountains and swamps and forests, your money is wasted then. Now, granted, people have, the argument that I always hear people say is that, well, okay, that's not entirely true because then you can trade those cards to other people to get cards you do want. And I said, yes, but if you're someone like me who gets incredibly secluded, that doesn't work because you barely go out and you barely trade with people. So you're still stuck with cards you don't want. Now, granted, that is my fault. That is not the fault of the game. That is my fault. I agree. But again, it still relies on the fact that you are spending you're spending money on a random chance to get a holographic or that one card that's super rare that could be worth $50.
Right. Well,
or you can get a bunch of commons that mean nothing to you.
Right. And I can tell you this. I can tell you this. My parents to this day bitch at me at all the cards that I bought when I was a kid. Like, because I was not interested in playing the card game. I really wasn't. I wasn't interested in learning how to play Pokemon. I wasn't interested in learning how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, because of the fucking shows, because of Pokemon the cartoon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, you got into it, and then you wanted the cards, and the thing was we spent hundreds of dollars on the cards. And
I will say though that even though that some of these cards can be super expensive, at least you can try and build the deck by just buying each individual card by going to a card shop.
And that is true.
And there are preload decks as well.
Yeah. But that's the other thing is preloaded decks, pre-made decks usually have cards that are very common,
right.
Cards that everyone has. And trust me, if you've ever talked to people in the Magic the Gathering community, as I have the last few months, they have always told, when I asked them this one question, I asked them, does any of your decks primarily consist of the starter decks that come out of the each expansions? And their answer is pretty much a unanimous no.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically every card that's in their deck came primarily from booster packs entirely, or just trading with people.
Right, and that's basically how it's always been, is that it's always been a trading game. That's why it's called a trading card game. But the thing is that it does not, take away the fact that it is basically buying a pack, just like you would buy a rec pack, opening it, and getting, 9, 10, 12 cards, and basically you get like one super rare, and then a bunch of uncommons, and then a bunch of commons. And, what's funny is that me and Matt, we went on a giant spree of buying these, Pokemon boxes and doing unboxing videos.
God, what a waste of money.
I wouldn't say that. It was fun, dude. We had a blast.
It was fun, but like literally I spent so much money on that and they're just sitting there.
Yeah, and now
I have my deck box of a bunch of cards that I'm not using because they're not part of my water deck. And now granted, and now I understand people have told me, but if you keep buying booster packs or starter decks and all this other stuff, You know, you never know. Maybe you want to make a lightning deck in the Pokemon cards or something like that. And that is true. But again, in the beginning, you don't think about that stuff. If your favorite type in Pokemon is fire, you only want to make fire decks. So it gets really annoying when you keep getting lightning or normals or fighting Pokemon cards. And then there's the whole evolution card system. And then there's the EX cards. And then there's the GX cards. And there's so much that are added on. And a lot of them are rare that it's, you know, you're going to get a bunch of cards that won't be useless for you.
Right.
You know?
Well, and here's the thing.
Oh, go on.
What I was going to say is, and here's the thing. I understand from a tournament standpoint. That's the one thing I'll say. I understand from a tournament standpoint that things change. Basically, the balancing of the game changes, and that there is different requirements.
Which I'm not arguing with that specifically. Yeah. I'm not saying that whole they must be at least the current year or 2 years. I'm not arguing that is a stupid rule and it shouldn't exist. But at the same time, if you really think about it, it kind of is manipulated. Because again, you're talking to someone that had a deck that they had for years. They spent money. They were proud to have the money. You know, and they also bought some cards from friends and everything like that to make this deck. And now the deck is useless. All these cards you bought, pointless. And your chance of selling said cards to people, also useless, because the majority of them are probably commons.
Right. Yeah, that I can totally understand.
And so that's kind of why I don't like the system. Now, yes, there are such a thing as people about being able to play against people as long as you call them legacy decks. But I ran into 1,000 different, not 1,000 exactly, but I ran into a bunch of people that refuse to play with legacy decks.
Well, and those are the elitist fucking, you know, people that, you know, you deal with. Like, basically, like, you run into that with any kind of tournament people, or basically people that, you know, only want to play the standard. Like, Matt, you're a competitive player. You only want to play the competitive mode. That's how some of these people act, even in the card community.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Yes, you'd fit in the card community because all you want to play is competitive, and that's how they act. Is
yeah,
they
true.
Only...
I mean,
motherfucker, you motherfucker. Here's the argument time. I remember when we would try and get you to play something, you're like, I don't find it fun if it's not competitive. I'm just like, what the fuck?
I was there for one of them, so don't try to hide yourself.
Yeah,
when we were
you're
playing
not
Overwatch,
innocent,
and you.
I'm not trying to. No, okay.
No, we're not angry with you. We're not trying to be like we're not pissed at you for it. It's just we're just helping you understand something. Is that when you got platinum, you got to the point where you were doing nothing but competitive, and then when we were trying to play competitive to have fun, and you were losing your numbers because you were platinum, you got really angry with us at one point.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
And I understand. Like, I know it sucks to lose a rank because we're gold and you're platinum and you're losing more points because of it. But we're here to have fun. You know, if you know you can get your rank back up, you can get your rank back up. A good example is Nick Bunyan. Nick Bunyan has been global elite many, many times, but majority of the time he's either LEM or LE.
But let's let Matt defend his case. Matt,
okay,
go ahead.
I really don't have anything to. I don't have really anything to defend because I actually tell you guys and I tell everyone all the time that it's just the rank. It's you're gonna fluctuate all the time.
Right.
And you just gotta learn to lose and to learn from your mistakes, and you'll eventually get back up there, no matter what. If you get better, you will get back up there. And sometimes it's hard to get that mentality, but it's true.
Right.
And sometimes I forget about that and I let my rage just kind of
we all do. We all do. I have stories of Halo 3 because I used to be a super hardcore competitive Halo 3 player. I've broken headsets. I've broken controllers. I fucking knocked over my Xbox one time and it ring burned my fucking Halo 3 disc and I couldn't play for like 2 weeks because I fucking didn't have the money to buy a new copy of Halo 3 and there was no used ones at the time. I know what it's like. Trust me. I was a hardcore competitive person. I'm just like, now I've kind of mellowed down on it. Like, CSGO is the only game I really take super serious, serial,
All right. We did get off topic.
Yes.
which happens.
Yes.
Discussions happen like that. But back to my main point, like, that was something that I wanted to point out, and I wanted to bring that into a logical topic. And I'm not going to lie, it was funny how many people were telling me I was an idiot. No, you're wrong. They're not similar. And some people even thought when I was using the booster pack comparison of card games, they were trying to make me... They thought I was trying to say that this is the reason why loot boxes should be okay in games. No, I'm not saying that that's why they should be okay, because they aren't okay.
Right.
It's just... It confuses me to how... we're arguing against this with video games, yet card games have been doing it for 20 years. Go ahead, Matt. You were about to say something.
Now, does Yu-Gi-Oh do that? Does Yu-Gi-Oh do the tournament style that Magic does, where they come out with the new generation?
All
You
of
can
them
only
do.
use these cards.
All
Really?
of them.
Even okay, Matt. Even just so you know, and sorry about if you heard that snap of my chair. All the card games do. Even digital ones like Hearthstone. Hearthstone now has basically a rule, and let me explain this because I've played Hearthstone. That basically now, you can you have to play from the newest 2 sets. If not, you go into a category that's similar to what you called Legacy as Wild. And basically that's the casual mode for people who want to play with whatever they want.
By the way, I didn't bring up Hearthstone because I never played it and I never looked into it. But when a friend of mine officially told me that, yes, there are booster packs in Hearthstone that you can buy with real money, I'm like, and no one's complaining about that. That's funny.
Right, because that's an actual card game, and then,
Right, and no, here's the thing. You hear people like Total Biscuit bitch about microtransactions all the time, yet he does fucking live streams of him sitting there early in the morning whenever a new set comes out, fucking opening packs and doing a fucking unboxing stream.
See, now that's where I'm like, okay, you are such a hypocrite.
Well, no, I think he's just getting the wool pulled over his eyes because he's a fucking fanboy.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Go ahead, Shane.
And not only that, it doesn't stop there. I didn't know about this. All right? I didn't think about this or know about this. Now, I'll show you guys the picture later because I don't have time to try and show it to you guys now, and obviously it won't be on the podcast.
Yeah.
But when I went to GameStop, because I was trying to see what they had in stock that one time, I completely forgot that there's some stock they have in the front of their store. And it just made me go, oh God, I forgot that these were a thing. So, you know how much of a problem the RNG system about buying an item is, obviously, because we've been discussing how manipulative and gambling it is.
Right.
Well, in the front store of GameStop, I don't know if it's everyone, but at least the one I went to, there was an Overwatch cutesy chibi statue thing where you buy one and you have a random chance to get a Sombra or Genji. Or Reinhardt.
I know what you're talking about. Those are those little boxes. My girlfriend buys those. Here's a funny story. I know what you're talking about. The little guest boxes. You get a little figurine of the character, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me say something about that. My girlfriend, basically, she's not a gamer hardcore like us, and she doesn't care about this kind of stuff. She buys cards. She buys the Ruby stuff. She buys the Ruby trading cards and stuff. And last time she was down here, basically she was spending the night with me, and we go to that little toy store I showed you at the mall, Matt, right? The one that opened up recently. We go in there and there's these little guest boxes of the Ruby figures. Basically, she buys one, and basically she opens it. It's Pura. She literally throws it at me and says, "Fucking keep it. I hate her." And I was just laughing my head off. She hates Pura because she has like this whole thing with John and Ruby and blah 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 blah. But basically, she doesn't like Pura. So then she texts me a few days later, and she'd bought a couple more, and she had gotten Weiss and so on. I'm like, honey, you gotta calm down with this. Like, don't, I know it's cool and everything, but you're gonna get duplicates, and when you get duplicates, it's going to be frustrating, and you're just gonna be throwing your money away. Like, be careful with it. And like that is another thing. It is those little. It's to get kids. Like, they're aiming those at kids. They're aiming.
Yeah. So if you want to talk about gambling, kids, and all these problems, and how much we need to fight against this and stop it with game studios, with loot boxes, and a lot of games, we also need to turn to everything else that's in the regard. Now, granted, can we do anything about it? No, not really. But I'm putting that out there in the discussion so people can try to be more aware.
Right. And
because, again, if you want to attack these game studios and saying that they shouldn't have these random systems because it can bring up gambling addiction, because there's been reports where someone once spent $13,000 on boxes in a game. I forget which one, in a single year.
Oh my god!
In a single year.
I think it was like Clash of Clans or some shit.
Yes, that's it. Thank you. Yeah. So these things can be manipulative. Now, obviously, a lot of us can be smarter and not be, manipulated by these tactics. But again, the problem still stands that people can be. And that's what we're fighting for. We're trying to fight against those people. And Jim Sterling has been showing some interesting stuff that is kind of creepy. There's this one commercial where it's a program where these scientists will, have a code AI that will register people that are playing your game and be able to help the player. What was the term they used in the commercial? Turn players into payers.
Right. Like that's the sad thing. And here's the thing that I find funny. Why are I understand that parents sometimes don't give video games and stuff.
Well, majority do now, but yes.
Right. But there are kids that are playing, Overwatch and stuff, and I remember I watched a video, I forget who it was either Act Man or one of my people that I usually talk with, who showed a clip of a kid sitting there in front of a green screen because I don't know if his dad was a live streamer or what, but it's literally him opening fucking crates, opening them and just showing his reaction. And it's literally whoever made the fucking video, if it was the kid or whoever, was putting that kid on there because it's a cute kid doing gambling basically in crate boxes. So you take a kid, which is one thing to get you fucking monetized on YouTube. You take loot boxes, which gets you another thing on YouTube, and then you mash it together and you got a fucking video that's gonna get you hundreds of thousands of views. And it's just ridiculous. And they're pushing kids to doing gambling, and you see that parents, I've seen kids playing CS:GO that have skins that are hundreds of dollars worth of skins. I've seen kids that have knives that I'm what the fuck? How did you get that? Either they did CS:GO gambling, which unfortunately T Martin and fucking what's his face didn't get in trouble for.
Okay. T Martin is the only person that I really held massive accountable, even though Pro Syndicate is accountable as well.
They both own the site. That's the problem.
He didn't own the site directly. He wasn't like the CEO. T Martin was. Pro Syndicate was just another person part of the company. He broke away the moment the controversy was starting. His apology was much more faithful and much more important.
Where T Martin was like, I'm going to make this short and sweet.
He was trying to deflect it. He was trying to act like, what do you mean you guys didn't know I owned it, huh? And when people try to show evidence, he tried changing the stuff. But we have evidence to prove that he changed the description. And we also have evidence of the fact that he tried to change it and change everything.
Right.
So, but Pro Syndicate literally just straight up said, yeah, what we did was wrong. What we did was stupid. We shouldn't have done that. I'm breaking away from this. I'm sorry. So I give more props to him as a person, because at least he owned up to it immediately, and he felt sorry about it. He donated, if I remember correctly, I believe he donated money to charities, all the money he was supposed to earn from the website. He broke away from that. I don't know what he's been doing now, but that's what I've been hearing.
Right.
Is it true that he's still doing that? I don't know.
Well, and here's the sad thing. The gambling sites have still been going on. You see, now there are these crate gambling sites now, where basically you buy 6 these expensively, fucking ridiculously expensive crates. I've seen people do videos on them, and they're these ridiculously expensive crates, and then they literally, spin them and throw away hundreds of... It's it makes me sick, because one, it does guarantee you more of a chance than what CSGO's crate opening does, but holy crap, $20 to $50 for a fucking crate. Are you retarded? Why?
Just for a skin.
Now, I will say something. The site's bad still, but you can trade up your own stuff.
Right,
if you have skins you don't want, if you, no. What I mean is, like I have a bunch of white skins in my inventory right now.
Right.
I can turn those all into the website, and they will give me credits.
Yeah.
And then I can turn those credits to open up other stuff.
That I can understand, but I just still find it scummy as all fucking hell.
No, I agree. Again, I am not saying that, like, oh, don't attack them too much. I'm just saying at least they have some fairing stuff. There's a difference between, oh, here's a crate opening site where you only have to put in real money to make it work, and if you have crap you don't want, turn them in. Maybe you can get better rewards.
Right. Well, let's... what were you going to say?
That is all. I'm just saying, like, there's more that we have to think about on the table. Loot Crate is manipulative. Microtransactions in $60 games shouldn't be in there. However, I am a little bit indifferent depending on the game, that I am okay if if they add it after about a year or two of it being released, if it's an online related game.
Right.
Like relatively Division or Black Ops 2's multiplayer. Like, but that's after a long time the game has been out, not day one. If it's day one, no, go F yourself, go away.
All right.
Yeah.
So now that we brought up names like Team Martin and, you know, Pro Syndicate, let's talk about a little bit of YouTube drama. And I've been needing to get this off my fucking chest because, and I'm going to drop his name, Keemstar, said this in Drama Alert, and it really made me fucking think about this. And, you know, this podcast is not censored. It is not, you know, you can't talk about this. You can talk about whatever you want to get off your chest. That's why this is an open platform. And if we get people that come on and talk about this, you know, that's perfectly fine. We are totally open to that. But Jake fucking Paul is the biggest piece of fucking shit I think I've ever seen on YouTube. I think he's literally worse than, who can I think of? He's worse than Anision. He's worse than a lot of these fucks. No, I hate Anision. He's a fucking cuck. But
okay, do you think he's worse than Arnita?
Wait, what, Matt?
Do you think he's worse than Arnita?
No, not worse than Anita. Maybe greedier, but not worse. But here's the thing. Last week, like we all know, I don't know if Shane knows about this. I know I explained this to Matt today. About the situation where he accused FaZe Banks of assaulting his assistant.
Oh god, like, I haven't done my research to confirm that, but if what you said is true, holy shit.
Basically, what happened is that, you know, FaZe Banks was at a club, and in came Jake Paul's assistant as well as her friend Max. And they basically were sitting there. They were trying to make peace because there was a little bit of a rivalry between FaZe Clan and Team 10, which is Jake Paul's brand or whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? So they basically, she bruises easily. There's been proof of this online through her Twitter that she wakes up and sometimes she has bruises. Well, she got a bruise on her neck, and basically they said that FaZe Banks basically clotheslined her, literally clotheslined her like a wrestling move, and like almost put her in a chokehold and dragged her across the club. And it came out that no, this never happened. Two, the guy Max, who was her best friend, came out and basically talked for FaZe Banks, saying, no, this never happened. I'm ashamed of Team 10. I don't want anything to do with him anymore. This never happened. You never cheated on your girlfriend, which, here's the reason why Jake Paul did it. Jake Paul did it because FaZe Banks is fucking his ex-girlfriend who left him because Jake Paul kept cheating on her all the time. That's why she fucking left and went to, you know, and got together with FaZe Banks. He's got some sort of hate for FaZe Banks. So this continues, and the whole time they're basically, you know, accusing him of this, and it comes out it's not true. Like, people in the staff, the security cameras, nothing shows this. Basically, FaZe Banks says, I'm gonna sue everyone at Team 10. They have some sort of sit down. Supposedly there was like some terms met, and Jake Paul was supposed to come out and basically apologize. This was basically came out on the last Baited episode, where basically he was a guest on Baited. He was supposed to. He never did. Basically, FaZe Banks is going to re-sue Team 10 and Jake Paul and so on and so forth. But recently, his staff, his members have started to leave, including a group of Spain. They're from Spain, but they're called the Martinez twins, Well, Jake Paul had basically been abusing him. He'd been doing his morning pranks he did to him in every vlog, basically abusing him. They didn't understand that. And the thing is that the pranks, they seemed playful, but at times they were very vicious. Like there was a time they were out of the country and he goes and destroys their fan art wall. Literally, they had fan art up on like a old like pinup board, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
He takes a sledgehammer and just destroys it. And there were other incidents like he forced, like supposedly he called them beaners. He basically would make the joke of, oh, they're not he would call them in secret the Martiners. He would call their fans that. And basically there was other things like he forced them to do this sexual, thing where basically they were humping each other and shit. And it's like, how is he getting away with this? And one thing that Keemstar brought up was PewDiePie. PewDiePie earlier this year got in trouble, and this is before the N-word incident, where he got in trouble for basically making jokes about Nazis and Hitler and stuff. And here's the thing. Everyone on YouTube, I know people besides PewDiePie who were making those Hitler did nothing wrong jokes before PewDiePie did.
Well,
and yeah, Shane?
He wasn't one that said it himself. It's all about context. I'll bring it up. Basically, yes, he used a lot of Nazi imagery and a lot of other stuff and a lot of really, really screwed up things. And, he's at fault with those things, absolutely, no matter what. But the context of the video in regard was specifically about the fact that he was trying to prove how really problematic this website called Fiverr was.
Right.
And the fact that people would do anything. So he tried to think up the most screwed up thing he could think of that people would do.
Yeah.
He had kids that didn't know the English language vowel, basically saying something horrendous about a particular group of people. And then having Jesus Christ basically saying something related to what you just said.
Well, so what the Fiverr thing was, let me explain that situation. Basically what it was it said on the sign, death to all Jews. And then they would say, subscribe to Keemstar. Which, fuck, like, Jesus Christ, like, that's the worst thing you could do is subscribe to Keemstar. But the thing is that it was all, a joke. It was, to do this. And the thing is that the Wall Street Journal saw an entry point to attack him and destroy him because basically places like the Wall Street Journal are losing money because no one's buying them, no one's supporting them. The new media, online media, is taking over. And they just went right after PewDiePie, the head guy of YouTube. But out of this consequence, PewDiePie lost his thing with Maker. He was kicked out of Maker. He lost his YouTube Red show from YouTube. Why has Jake Paul, even though he's been accused and it's been proven of a lot of these things, not lost his YouTube Red show that he's getting? That's my question. Like, what do you guys think?
I remember when we were talking about this earlier, PewDiePie might make YouTube a lot of money, but I don't think he racks up the views as much as Jake Paul does now because he's a new thing. Everyone's going to want to see what Jake Paul's up to.
Right. And it's always
they're not going to want to get rid of Jake Paul because he's racking up the money for them right now. And they're like, no, he might be fucked up, but we like the money.
Right.
However, I disagree with that. You want to know why?
Why?
Because look how quickly Netflix dropped Kevin Spacey when his allegations came out.
Yeah.
And granted, I know it's slightly different. It's not exactly similar to what Jake Paul's doing. But again, when there's these big things, I mean, remember, Mel Gibson said a lot of racist stuff, and it was secretly recorded, and he lost a lot of work for a while. And now he's back in the limelight. There's a lot of people who have done some horrible things, and they usually get dropped like a rock. Like, there is no second guess majority of the time. Well, yes, there are also cases where they don't get dropped, but majority of the time they do.
Right.
So that statement that they're keeping them because it brings in views, I find that hard to believe. Because if all these cases were 100% true, YouTube should know and drop them. But I think the reason they're not responding is because, well, Jake Paul has not shown up on the New York Times or on Huffington Post or on Forbes.
That
PewDiePie,
is true.
Because PewDiePie's whole controversy with the stuff at the beginning of the year and the whole N-word during a live stream, like during the summer,
yeah,
that was posted everywhere. It was on Forbes, it was on New York Times, it was on Huffington Post, it was on CNN, it was everywhere.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, dude,
Yes.
no, dude, they were pushing that agenda harder than fucking.
Wow.
Okay,
That makes a lot more sense now that Shane explains that.
But the thing is that like why like this is what more I mean is why is PewDiePie's thing that basically the one thing he mainly got exposed for was the jokes, the jokes. Now the N-word thing came later on, and that one was a bit of a big deal, and some people were acting fucking ridiculous about it. But the thing is that when it came to the jokes, the actual jokes, people were fucking hammering on this. Whenever there's hard proven evidence of this guy doing terrible things to his staff, making false allegations, and basically trying to cause a person to lose his life. If FaZe Banks had been if he had not gotten the proof that he had not done this, and that, it had come out, oh yeah, he could have been kicked out of FaZe. It probably would have gone to FaZe Rain, who would take over. He would have probably lost a ton of sponsorships. He would have probably been, probably arrested if it was believed, and even if, even with those allegations, it's still going to stick. Even if people, it's whatever people believe is true. It's not what is true sometimes, because sometimes people believe it even though it's not true. And that's the thing. And it's like, why is Jake Paul not getting the hammer, but PewDiePie is? And yeah, it has to do with the mainstream media. They have an agenda, and it's like they wanted to kill the king, and PewDiePie is up there, and now we're going to get someone who's 10 times worse. Yes, PewDiePie is still racking up subscribers like crazy, but he doesn't get the amount of views that Jake Paul does.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, but I just want to get that off my chest. Anything else you guys want to talk about, or should we wrap up the first episode and call it a day?
I think those are the only two topics we had on the day today, and so I see no reason to continue longer. I made my points that I hope people would think about on a logical scale, and leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan explained it all pretty well, so there's nothing for me to add, really, so.
All right, well, I think we should end it off here. I think I have to say thank you guys. If you are gone to this point, let us know down in the comment section down below. I appreciate highly if you gave us a shot, and you know what, we might change things up. There might be things differently, like we might go and do this on a live stream and pull people into our Discord to do calls. That might be an option in the future that we've kind of baffled around whenever it came down to this, basically having a call room where you could basically go in and then we'll pull you in. If there's a subject that is in the news you want to talk about, come on, bring it on. And if we know something about it, because I stay pretty up to date with both gaming and, YouTube shit. I stay up to date with that stuff. We can talk about it and discuss it, but it's totally up to you guys. Let us know. Leave a like if you liked it. Leave a dislike if you liked it, or leave a dislike if you liked it. No, don't do that. That's a terrible idea. Leave a dislike if you didn't like it, and just let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. What could we do to improve it? I know that there's no gameplay or anything. It's just a screenshot, because I don't want you guys to get distracted. I want this to be something you can listen to instead of something you have to be watching, constantly see us doing some weird crap. So thank you guys for watching, for Matt and for Shane, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys, being a part of this. And, I think this is going to be something that we can continue to do in the future. But thank you for watching. And as always, GamerJlee, Insane Matt, and Quickman signing out.